So this look is a special occasion or date night look. And we're going to start out with a primer. And this is Maybelline's Baby Skin primer. Um, it's a drugstore primer. Typically runs about $6 to $7. In my opinion, it's good quality, and it's something that I use personally on an everyday basis. So we're going to go ahead and apply it to her entire face. And so this is going to matte out her face, and it's also going to take away the shine and of course minimize pores. So next we're going to prime her eyelids, and I'm using Naked Skin Urban Decay. It's a concealer, but I really like it as a primer. So we're going to go ahead and apply it to her lids. We're going to apply a little more just to get underneath the brow as well. Then we're going to go ahead and start out with the eyes first. Since it's going to be a more dramatic look, we don't want to have any shadow on her skin. So we're going to start out, before we do, typically you would put your foundation on first, but because this is going to be a look that's more concentrated on the eyes, we're going to wait to do foundation last. So we're going to start out with that transition color, and it's a shade or two lighter than your skin tone. And we're going to apply it actually all over the eye and the crease area using a blending brush. This is my favorite blending brush. It's a MAC 224 brush. And using windshield wiper motion. And the shade that I'm using is from the Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette, and it's called Sandalwood. Go ahead and apply a little bit more. And then we're actually going to use a darker color called Henna, and it's also going to go on the crease using the same blending brush. And this one's more of a, I would say, red undertone. I think it's really pretty. Go ahead and apply it to the other eye using the windshield wiper motion. Then we're gonna apply a little bit more concealer, and we're gonna try to do a cut crease. This is a trend that's been really popular lately. So with the flat brush, we're gonna apply more concealer to the eyelid, and we're gonna do like a sharp crease, and we're just outlining the lid. And we're gonna do the other eye. And then using a finger, your index finger, you're gonna pick up some of this eyeshadow, and this is 24K, same with the same Huda palette, and you're just gonna apply, first you're gonna apply it with your index finger. Typically when you apply it with your index finger, you get better pigmented. A flat brush will also pick it up, but I've noticed that your actual index finger picks up the pigment a little better. And this shadow, typically it looks really pretty on all type of skin tones. Gold is such a beautiful color, and it really does go well with almost all skin tones. So now I'll try to get into the crease, with the flat brush, just the top to outline it. Like I said, it really does go on better with the finger, but I just kind of want to trace this out, make sure that the entire eyelid is covered. I went ahead and also included her tear duct, added some of that shadow to it. I don't have any product on my blending brush, but I'm just gonna kind of blend out any harsh lines that I created with the previous brush. It's gonna just smooth everything out. Next, I'm gonna take a darker brown, and it's called Cocoa, from the same eyeshadow palette that I've been using. And I'm just gonna hit the corner of her eyes. And I'm gonna use just a circular motion to the tip. Try to create some dimension and depth to her eyes. Pick up some more pigment, and we're gonna do her other eye. And I think I'm pretty much done with the eyeshadow. Now we're gonna create a wing liner, and I'm using NYX Matte Tracer Liquid Liner. And doing a wing liner takes practice. So next we're going to work on her face. We're going to add foundation. So I'm using Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation. And I already dotted it all over her face. And this retails for about $42. It's a pretty high-end foundation, but a dupe would be L'Oreal's True Match Foundation. It has a really good formula. So I would highly encourage you to start out with that. This is just something that I had to kind of complete this glam look. Now we're going to use a beauty blender, and this is wet. And this is going to distribute her foundation evenly throughout her face. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I'll do one side first. And then we'll move on to the other side. Make sure you go down the neckline just a little. That way you don't see a foundation line. And I really like beauty blenders because you can go in those little areas where typically a brush, sometimes it's harder to maneuver. So I'm going to add a little more foundation to her face because this is going to be a full coverage look. I'm going to go in again and distribute the foundation in the right areas. And next we're going to add concealer, and you want to buy a concealer that's a shade or two lighter than your skin tone. And this I used earlier, the Naked Skin Skin Finish, to conceal or to prime her eyelids. So I'm going to go ahead and conceal her under eyes. And we're going to add a little bit of concealer to highlight her nose, her chin. And using the same beauty blender, we're going to distribute this evenly under the eye, her chin, so next we're going to do something called baking, and it's a technique where this translucent powder creates some sort of chemical reaction with the foundation, and it sculpts your face. So we're gonna just put it under her eyes, so it's gonna create like an airbrush look when we add this to the under eye. And we want to be generous and add quite a bit to the under eye and to the side of the nose. And so we're going to let that rest for a little bit. Now using a large brush, we're going to use some of that setting translucent powder, and we're just going to dab it a little on the face to kind of matte out any areas that might be oily, because we're going to contour the face next. So now I have my contour palette, and this is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. As you can see, this is one of my favorite products. I'm almost out of it, so I'm just kind of gonna dab all this brush, which is a contour brush, on all three different shades of browns, and I'm gonna start with her cheekbones. And I'm just gonna apply it back and forth under her cheekbones. And I'm gonna do the other side. So just kind of back and forth. And then we're gonna add some to her forehead. This is gonna add some warmth to her face. And it also is gonna sculpt her face. This sometimes gives you the illusion of your face to look slimmer. We're gonna do her jawline as well. And then using the sharp edge of a beauty blender, I'm gonna add the translucent powder, and I'm gonna start the baking process, which her under eyes are already baking. And just create a straight line down, and then another line down here. And we're also gonna do a little bit on her chin, just to mat everything out. And so while that, you'll want to leave that on for about 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes you'll hear other makeup artists say a good 20 minutes, but I think after 10 minutes, I think it's done the chemical reaction that it needs to do, and it's good to be removed. So next we're going to actually work on her eyebrows. And I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in medium brown. And this product goes a long way. So if you just want to dab a eyebrow brush and dab it on your hand, like I said, this product goes a long way, and you just only need a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and define her eyebrows. So we're gonna try to make them a pretty strong brow, but also natural. And I'm just kind of gonna follow her natural arch. Gonna work on the other side. Gonna define underneath first to create a strong brow. And don't, sometimes they say we don't have eyebrows completely the same. But you know what's nice about makeup is that you can create different illusions. Sometimes one eyebrow's higher than the other. But that's the wonderful part about makeup. And when you work with the beginning of the eyebrow, you want to just create as light stroke as possible, because you don't want to have a eyebrow that looks like you've tattooed it on. Like, you want the natural hairs to stick out a little. We use the product just to define it and to make it a little darker and stronger. You can always go back with the Q-tip if it's too dark. With a flat, or it's not really flat, but a brush that has somewhat of a fluff. You want to use a matte white eyeshadow and put it underneath her brow bone. So this will kind of make her eyebrows stand out a little more, and it separates the eyeshadow from the crease and the eyebrow. So now we're actually going to remove her the translucent powder that's under her eye with a fluffy angled brush, so we can get right in. We're still going to leave her the translucent powder that's on the side of her face, underneath her cheekbones. And with the same translucent powder that we used on her crease, we're going to use under her under what is this part of the eye called? The lash line, the bottom lash line, the under eye. We're just going to go in with some eyeshadow to make it stand a little more. Just line it up. The look will stand out a little more. Now we're actually going to move into the eyelashes, and we're going to use a set of lashes, and you can find any set of lashes at a drugstore, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens. I can't remember what type of eyelash this is, and we're going to be using Duo adhesive, eyelash adhesive, and this is also drugstore, and it works really well. It stays on if you put it on correctly. So we're going to add a nice strip to the lash, and this actually dries on translucent. And then it takes about 20 seconds to get sticky. So in the meantime, you just kind of want to work it through the lash and kind of bend it over just a little, so it's very flexible when you put it on the eye. So we're just gonna wait a couple seconds while it gets tacky, and then we'll apply it to the eye, the lash of the line of the lash line. So
the lashes are called Send Me Nude by Lash Pop.
Okay. Oh, they're Lash Pop. So Color Pop or Lash Pop?
Lash Pop.
Lash Pop is a eyelash line. Probably Google it and find it.
They're affordable.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and apply it. We want to start out with the tip first, and you don't really have to fully close your eyes. You can kind of look down and try to apply. Put pressure on the eye with when you're applying it. And like I said, this is gonna dry on right now. You can see the white line, but it's gonna dry completely clear. The corner sometimes is the one that we get the most trouble with, trying to get it to stick. And every time you buy a pair of lashes, you can actually reuse it. The more you reuse it, the more expensive it could be. There are some lashes that cost $30-$40, but you can reuse them up to like 25 times. The drugstores, you could probably use them twice, maybe three times, and each of them will cost you between $5 and $7. Okay, in your eye. Then we're going to apply the other lash. And again, we're going to do the same process. Work the glue and try to make the lash a little flexible. Sometimes I kind of just blow on it too, so it can dry and get tacky a little quicker than just waiting 20 seconds. Okay, you're gonna look down. Start out with the end. This one's a little more difficult to apply, and applying lashes really does take practice. Just applying some pressure once the glue's tacky. Maybe I should have waited a little more on that one. So you can see this one's already completely dry. And we'll go over it with eyeliner again to make sure that you can't see the strip line of the lash. Okay, look at me. And so now we're gonna go ahead and get rid of the baking, the translucent powder, and as you can see, it kind of defined her face, made it look slimmer, defined her cheeks. And so now we're gonna add a little. So now we're gonna add a little bit of blush to the apples of her cheeks. We're gonna use this. This is Anastasia Beverly Hills also, and we're using an Anastasia Beverly Hills brush. So next we're gonna add blush to the apples of her cheeks, and I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills, and it's like a peachy. I'm also using a brush that is Anastasia Beverly Hills, and it's just gonna add color to her face, but we don't want to add too much because we're gonna add a bold lip. Then we're gonna add highlighter, and this is an Anastasia, again, a Beverly Hills product, and it's the Glow Kit, and there's 4 different shades on here, and we're actually gonna use this Dipping Gold, and we're gonna add this to the top part of her cheekbones, and it's just gonna highlight that area. And then we're gonna also add a little bit to her nose and on top of her. This is just gonna make everything come together when the final look is done. We're gonna add a little bit of mascara to the bottom lashes. And we're gonna also use this gold shade from the Glow palette to add to the inner corners of her eyes. This will really make the look pop. So next we're gonna apply lipstick, and this is I Love Sarai. It's a ColourPop. It's a matte lipstick, and it's called Arriba, and it's a really pretty red. And so we're gonna go ahead and do the bottom part first. You have to be really careful with liquid liner or liquid lipsticks because they dry pretty quick. And so you want to try to apply it as quickly as possible. But the actual wand of the lipstick makes it really easy to apply. Go like that. And you can also follow it up with, or touch it up with concealer. Open. And you just want to follow the natural arches of your lips. Okay. And then we're gonna go ahead and just touch up her eyeliner. Make sure that you can't see that lash line. And then the very final step is to add setting spray. This will help your face look dewy, but it's also gonna create your makeup to stay on all night. and so it's gonna your eyeshadow's not gonna fall out, your foundation's not gonna melt if you're in a very hot area. And what we're using today is Urban Decay All Nighter, and it's a makeup setting spray, and it's long lasting. And this is our final makeup look, and I hope you guys liked it.